Okay, I'm just going to do a flip through of my field journal from Haida Gwaii. So this is a journal that I made basically to document a field trip that I was doing when I was volunteering for Laskeek Conservancy doing field ecology work for them. So I usually start by basically making a page that is a calendar so that I can write notes every day just as a way of jogging my memory in case I don't have a chance at the time to do a journal. And then I do a little bit of setup. In this case, I made a map of the island so that I would be able to take this with me into the field and have an idea of which trail I was on and where I was going. I always make some references in the back. So here's the Beaufort wind scale, which is useful for doing field work and sea watches. I make a little recipe book since we share cooking, and this has a bunch of favorite recipes kind of put out in shorthand. There are field notes back here and other sort of related items. There is a pocket that has percent cover, which is useful for cloud cover. Here's a map that I took with me in the field, some Haida phrases, a checklist of Haida Gwaii birds. I usually put some journal references, so if I need to measure something in the field or estimate numbers or have degrees of arc estimate for, sunset, sundown, that kind of thing, things to consider in my journal. And then I also have reference pages. So the reference pages are usually at the back, reference materials of, where I'm going. So these may be birds or in this case, marine life, depending on, what the trip is about. A way of reporting marine mammal incidents in this case, specific marine mammals that I think they may be in the field. And just sort of notes about each one as a way of reminding myself what I'd be looking for with each species. Ways of recognizing species and the little thumbnail of the species themselves. And then a few other sort of handy reference things at the front of the journal. So in this case, the calendar, the map, phases of the moon. The Haida people ask that you sign the Haida Pledge, so this is a little copy of the Haida Pledge here, kind of as a reference for myself. I made it into a little book. And then a little pamphlet for the Laskeek Conservancy that I was volunteering with, and Gwaii, which is the co-managed park between Parks Canada and the Haida people. And then I have here a tide table, mostly showing me just the main lows and main highs, so that I am aware of when those are in case I need to do intertidal work or that sort of thing. And then I have from the Canada Tides the actual times, and then sunrise and sunset, which is really handy for when you're doing field work. This is a little stamp I had the San Spit Post Office give me when I first got there. And then each page has a journal, just sort of what was going on each day, and I have some illustrations. Here's an eagle that I saw predating a seal on the beach. Some sketches from the museum, because you're not allowed to take photos in the museum, so these are just things that I saw, and notes. This is from a beach walk that I did in front of the museum, just species that we saw, little notes about them. And then each page, or each spread, I usually do just for, what was going on that day, what I was doing, things that were notable, like this is a raven that came to visit and was talking to me and throwing moss at me. These are objects, mostly things that the ravens throw into the woods. This is an octopus beak that was in the office at East Limestone. This is a cormorant skull. So basically each day, like this is one of the birds that we would hear at night, storm petrels. This was from a sea watch. This is pigeon guillemot, which is one of the main species that we saw. And then the day that we did the sea transects, here's a map of the transects. Here's what we saw on the sea survey, and this is a drawing that I initially did of the hollout, and then I painted it after the fact. We're also monitoring red-breasted sapsuckers, so I did a little drawing of that from one of the birds that we saw at the wildlife truth that we were monitoring. There were lots of slugs in the forest, so I did a little drawing of slug and some mosses. We were also looking at fauna, so I did some flora, so I did a little fungus painting and some paintings of some of the interesting species that were there, like these fairy slipper orchids that are all over the forest there. And then when we were leaving, we saw a bear, so I did a little sketch of the bear. And then back when I got into sandspit, just some things that I saw around sandspit, some shell species that were on the beach, and a warbler. And then I did some fungus and a painting of the view out of the window at the office on East Limestone. So and these are all of the species that we saw during 6 days with 4 of us monitoring on East Limestone. So that is my journal. Math on the front, a few things for incident reporting in the back, and that is that. Hope you enjoyed it.